Welcome to the Intuitive Ascending Mind podcast with your host, Alia Yasmin Khan. Throughout this series, you'll learn how cultivating a growth mindset can unlock your true potential and impact every aspect of your life. Join Alia and her guest each episode as they dive deep into strategies for personal development and lasting transformation. Now, here's Alia.
Welcome to the Intuitive Ascending Mind podcast. Joining me on today's show is Christina Steinhoff, and she comes all the way from my favorite city in the entire world, the UAE, Dubai. And she is a subconscious architect. And I will have you talk a little bit about that, Christina. I'm so excited to have you on the show today, and I want to learn a little bit more about what you do because we have so much in common. And I'm grateful to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Alia. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for having me. And Dubai is absolutely out of this world. It's the middle ground of both East and the West. My husband's from Germany, the West. I'm from India, the East. So
You met in the middle.
Middle East is like awesome. It works so well for us. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, subconscious mind. Now, how little or how much time do you have? I can really explain it in very short or
Oh no, I want to know all the details here. Let's dive into this. And I'm sure our listeners are going to be so excited to hear this content too. So
Absolutely, because the subconscious awareness of the subconscious mind is not something that we all know, because we all learn about maths, English, science, business, how the world works, how everything externally. What is not taught to us is what is most important, would you not agree, is about our own neurology, how we work, who we are, right?
Yes.
And this is where just the understanding of what subconscious mind is and how it affects and drives our behavior is key to any change that anybody really wants to make. So the conscious and the subconscious mind, they are part of the same system, right? But then they play interconnected roles in how we think, how we feel, and also how we behave, right? Because our behaviors are driven by how we feel. And most are, again, not aware of it, right? Without awareness, then we just behave unconsciously and not realize why we are behaving that way. There's always a subconscious reason for it.
Yes.
So understanding the relationship between both the conscious and the subconscious mind is key to any change, any desirable change that you want in your life. And especially not only desirable change, but lasting change.
Yes.
Because a lot of therapy coaching stays at behavior, right? You want to change a result, you change the behavior. But the behavior, that is the change that you desire from a conscious part, is only lasting for this time, because our unconscious mind is playing the role 95% of the time of our daily waking hours.
Yes.
Without awareness, we don't know. We think that, okay, I want to change this or that in my life. I want to have more money. I want to have a better relationship. I want to go on the diet. I want to go to the gym consistently. So the desire is there from the conscious mind. But then people get frustrated. They get annoyed with themselves. They feel guilty and they blame themselves. Oh my God, like I really want to do it, but I just can't do it. I can't stick to the change that I really want to change. Why is that? That is because of the subconscious programming that we hold that drives our behavior, rules 95% of the time. So, so the conscious mind is a part of the mind that is actively working in the analytical part, what is happening in the present moment, and the decision making, the logical part of our day-to-day activity, right?
Right.
It's responsible for intentional actions. The part where you sit and say, okay, so what do I want to do? You think, you sit, and you engage your conscious mind. But because it's only active 5% of the time, if what you desire to change is in conflict with your values, with your programming, with your memories, belief system, guess what? This change is not sustainable. That's what really happens.
So valuable. What you're sharing is so valuable. Like, it's so true. It's amazing. Yes.
And again, without awareness, we don't know. And hence, it's really my mission to, yes, help people live I totally align with your motto, have more focus, have true freedom and happiness in their life. And once they understand the subconscious mind, their own subconscious mind, and the role it plays in these three pillars, it's amazing how things can change. So do we have 2 minutes more to talk a bit
Yes.
more about subconscious mind?
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Passionate about this. I mean, I'm going to keep it short and concise. So that was the conscious mind, right?
Yes.
The conscious mind is the logical, analytical, present, thinking, creative mind, right?
Right.
The subconscious mind, that is the domain of our beliefs, domain of our emotions, domain of habits and memories. Most often programmed in our childhood years, 0 to 7. It's like a software. So hardware and software, which needs update from time to time, similar to our phone or devices. There's an update coming every 1 month, right?
Yes.
And what happens if you don't update?
You lose power to your phone pretty much somewhat.
Yes, yes,
It
you lose
doesn't
power.
function as great. It gets a dis-ease.
Exactly, exactly. It slows down. It doesn't operate in the optimal, what's the word? Help me out. In the
Like
optimal
capacity, yeah,
capacity.
absolutely.
Correct, correct. So our mind, our brain is no different than actually the technology in so many different ways. So our subconscious mind is akin to a software that is programmed at during childhood, domain for all our memories, all our beliefs, all our patterns, and which can be empowering or it can be disempowering. But it's all in the subconscious awareness. So when the main point is conscious mind, you want something, you have a desire for change, be it business, relationship, health, doesn't really matter. But you find yourself in conflict and not being really able to change because there's a subconscious programming which is operating 95% of the time that is holding you back. It's as simple as that. And my work, what we do is integration of the conscious and the subconscious mind via very scientifically backed modalities and proven methods, which when incorporated and done the work, it works fantastic. And there are so many case studies where people have increased income. Not only income's a main part of it, but improved relationship, health.
Of course, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, this impacts everything that is observable in the observable universe. Like, if we can't, every single thing from our phones to, I mean, everything that we experience that has been created required creation energy that funnels through us to create into this world that we live in. So the homes that we live in required creation energy, and all of that starts with imagination. It starts with a vision in the mind, and then we take that vision and we start to craft it and nurture it. And if you're great at taking that inspiration and that vision, you can then turn that into physical reality. But if you have a lot of obstructions, or you haven't updated the software, as you put it, if you have a lot of inner turmoil, roadblocks, that the transition from inspiration into imagination, into action, into taking action and creating something, there's a massive slowdown in that process. And I just love the way that you explained that. It just sounded so beautiful. It really has a lot to do with our programs and how we got programmed from 0 to 7. And
Absolutely. Love the way you articulate that, please.
yeah, I think when you're that young, you don't don't think about any of that, you know. You're
No.
just the observer. And so many times
Yes.
parents raising their kids, they think their kids are more conscious than they actually are
Yes,
because
because
they appear smart because they're mimicking. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, correct, correct. Because up to a certain age, 7 to be precise, children, developmentally speaking, only has one part of their brain really developed. So the conscious part, the analytical, the rational part develops at a later stage. So from 0 to 7, we are like sponges.
Yeah,
Sponges. So
yeah,
everything that we see, as you said, we hear, we experience is programmed, right? And because
yeah,
emotions rule for children.
yeah,
So with the presence of conscious parents who understand children's development, of course, then they can also, they're conscious about the way they behave around children. But
right.
most often than not, in our generation, okay, now things are changing, thank God. But
Yeah,
before, it wasn't like that. Our parents just repeated what they learned, and then
yes,
our grandparents repeated what they learned. So
yes,
there's this whole paradigm shift going on now to really become aware that we are not our programming.
right. Yeah,
We are not our thoughts. We are not our beliefs.
right.
We are the awareness behind it all.
Yes,
And what you said, I love what you said earlier about, you said it so beautifully, Alia, about everything that exists in this world. How did it start? You said it in a better way, but it started with imagination.
yeah, yeah,
Somebody thought of a plane.
yeah.
Birds could fly. Why can't we? We still can't fly, but we have made
Right.
anything
Yeah,
that could fly, right? So
yeah.
we human beings, our mind, that's what I tell my clients. Your mind is more powerful than all the computers in the world.
Yes.
But we can't tap into it because why? Of our programming,
Yeah.
because our programming limits us,
Mhm.
because we are more often than not uh, programmed to doubt ourselves, to
Yeah,
doubt our inner power, our inner knowing.
absolutely. Yeah, we're trained to have that self-doubt. You know, I almost feel as though fear is how every single one of us starts off. And it's our responsibility to flip it around to faith. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't matter, like, all children are going to download fear. And the reason for that is because the parent is always trying to protect the child.
Mhm.
So as you see the child, like a toddler go maybe near water and you haven't taught them how to swim, you may say something and they can energetically detect that you're afraid, and they download fear in that moment because they observe that maybe you yelled at them, or maybe you said don't go there, or something that was negatively impacting. And children will do something impulsively and then deal with the consequences of it. And in the process of doing that, the crying and the pain that may come as a result of doing that, impromptu idea that seemed like a good idea to them, and feeling the pain, that instills fear as well. And these are all different patterns of fear that develop in us, through our childhood stage, and then it gets expressed out later on in life because we never break out of the fear.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so our subconscious mind, our unconscious mind has several prime directives. One of them, or the topmost, is to keep us safe.
Survival.
Keep us safe, survival, right? Hence, 95% that's why we mostly have, people have negativity bias. Why is that? Because thinking of the worst case scenario, what it does is like subconsciously, it keeps us safe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But the irony is, most of the fears that we think, this negative thinking, is irrational.
yeah,
Fear is important. Yes, of course. If we didn't have fear, we just walk out on the road and stand in front of the running bus and we die, right? So
right.
we need to have some fear. It's important. It serves us.
Yeah,
But more often than not, the fears that I see my clients live with day in and day out, they're irrational.
yeah,
And you're right in how this fear is downloaded and
yeah,
how it is transferred
Yeah.
from our caregivers.
Yeah.
When you grow up with an anxious, fearful parent figure
Yeah.
or caregivers, automatically the model of the world, the lens that you see the world through, becomes fear-based. It's
Yeah.
not safe. It's not safe to be me. It's not safe to me to explore. Why? Oh, I don't know, but it's like an energy
Dangerous
that.
world, especially as women growing up. Like you're always told how bad the world is and how
Yes.
bad like people are in the world. Like I just remember like being a kid and like having my mom have those conversations. Well, boys are bad, stay away from boys and don't do this and be careful with people. Don't get into a car, don't do this. There was a whole lot of list of don'ts, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's so important to recognize that, because all of those don'ts turn into an adult that's afraid to even act. It's like afraid of people, afraid of your environment, afraid. And the truth of the matter is, this is a concept I've really had to like step into in my own self, because I had to overcome some trust issues.
Mhm.
I think trust was like the biggest thing but the lens in which I view the world, if I'm not viewing it from a trusting place, then I'm inviting that distrust. Because a
Mhm.
paradox to what you said is, the paradox is now your imagination is imagining the bad things happening, and you don't realize you're actually creating it in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. Yes, Alia. That is so one of the things that I teach in my program is how reality is created inside out.
Yes.
What you just said, it pinpoints it directly. That we do not realize, but it's again a scientifically proven system. Once I show it to them, they realize, oh, it is my thoughts and beliefs that is, because everything exists at the same time, right?
Yeah.
But then you see things that are only aligning with your thoughts and beliefs in your
Yes.
programming.
Yes.
So
And
similar
anything
to,
that you bring your attention to, you creating in that
yes,
moment.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
And
I cut you off. I'm sorry. We're just so excited about this conversation.
I am. The thought that came to my mind now, a metaphor, it's almost like, um, so imagine these old-time movie cameras,
Hmm.
not movie cameras, projectors,
Uh-huh.
project projecting contents of a reel onto a big screen in
Yep.
front,
Yep.
right? And the reel is what? So the projector is you, our body.
Yes.
The reel is our thought, our
Yes.
programming. And
Yes.
the screen is the world that we see outside.
So beautifully said. Yes.
We can see, we experience our life, how we experience it, based on the kind of film we put in our projector.
Yeah.
And who is in charge of this projector, of the film that you put in? We,
We are.
thoughts.
Yeah.
But most of us, without awareness, we think that, oh, thoughts are just happening to me. But you can select the thoughts the same way as you select your clothes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a level of control that's there. And in all, I don't like to talk about being aware, because as aware as I am, I know there's multiple levels of awareness beyond where I am.
Absolutely. Yes.
But on the spectrum of where I sit, there are times that thoughts will flow in there that I don't wish to have. And I
Mhm.
always just observe it, and I
Mhm.
don't get emotionally invested in it. So I keep my feelings completely neutral, and I just observe the thought until it disappears. And if the thought is negative towards another human being, one of the practices that I've actually developed is to bless their lives better than mine.
Mhm.
And when
Beautiful.
I do that, it just kind of releases, because if somebody else's life is blessed better than mine, they don't have the capacity to hurt me.
Mhm.
So, but if I believe that they have the capacity, this is like, when you mentioned about beliefs earlier, if I believe that they have the capacity to hurt me, I'm then empowering them with my energy to hurt me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I wish I could get that concept into, the minds of more people out there, because that's the reality. Your greatest enemy should be the one that you're praying for the most and blessing their lives better than yours.
Yes, yes. And mm, I have to say, as consciousness,
Mhm.
we are inching towards, uh, compared to even, let's say, a decade ago or 20 years ago. I mean, the consciousness level is rising and changing.
Yes.
And then it all comes down to, again, choice, because now, especially in this day and age, there has never been a time in the history of mankind where there was so much awareness
Yeah.
to how you can make your life better, you know, successful, happy, joyful, peace, freedom. It is all possible, you know, but
Yeah.
then it's a decision and a choice.
Yeah.
Most people are not aware, but awareness is there everywhere. So I sometimes feel, Alia, is that, again, okay, this is now diverted from the topic, but just a little bit on life path and journeys.
Mhm.
Maybe some are just not, mm, this lifetime is not the time for them to choose and decide to have a life full of freedom, joy, love, peace, and success.
Yeah. Yeah, I play with that concept a little bit at times because I do see people and I know that there's a barrier on what they will be able to awaken to.
Mhm.
And they do make strides, which leads me to the belief system again, like everything is on a level, on a spectrum level, and they're always there may be a cutoff point, for an individual, but it does intrigue me because I really do, in my heart I think everyone has access to it.
Absolutely.
The
100%.
challenge is to get them to understand that they have the access to it, or get them to change their belief systems. And a lot of times they just have limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
actually all
So
the time that's what it is.
I'm curious. I talk about limiting beliefs a lot, right? And
Yes.
I would curious about your explanation or perception of limiting beliefs, what they are. And because the first time I came to know of it 10 years ago, I was like, limiting beliefs? What is even limiting beliefs? I'd love to know from your side, Alia, what your understanding of limiting beliefs are and how you help your clients in overcoming them and
Yeah.
reprogramming them.
So what I've discovered about limiting beliefs is that it's a lack of knowledge. And what causes this lack of knowledge could be something cultural, could be something religious. And for that reason, there's almost like a guilt associated. Like, I can't have too much money because the root of money is evil, right? The love
Mm,
of money is evil, the
mhm,
phrase of the Bible. Or I can't do that because I'm not supposed to, like, you're not supposed to live your life in that way. You're supposed to be humble. And humility is key. Humbleness is key. But the way that I understand that, you see, the limiting beliefs comes from the intelligence we acquire from the physical world. So
mhm,
the way that I explain this is that we start out with soul spirit first, like the spirit, the soul of us. The soul of us has a mind. The mind starts out pure as it expresses itself into the physical world. So, like a baby is very pure in nature,
mhm,
the mind hasn't fully developed quite yet. Now, the back loop of negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs are now fed into the child. The mind
mhm,
starts to be developed, and the mind has a dualistic nature in it. So,
mhm,
as we step into a higher level of consciousness, it's our responsibility to take the negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs and reframe them
mhm,
before putting it back out into the world. So,
mhm,
if I took if I didn't do that, the automatic cycle was that if I saw someone behaving bad, I will behave bad. If someone gets angry, I will get angry.
mhm,
And to process that effectively, you really have to absorb the emotions. You see the other person, you become the observer. Maybe the other person is angry, but
Mhm.
on a different level of consciousness, you understand that that's just who they are. Like that
Mm.
has nothing to do with you. You can't make them mad. They're
Yes.
just mad.
Yes. Yes.
So, but we have this desire to just please. That's another
Yes.
part of like who we are. And
Yes.
when I speak about it, I really speak about it from the soul, because I think there's certain key elements that the soul wants. The soul wants peace, unconditional love. It wants unconditional forgiveness, and it wants to self-actualize itself through this physical experience. And the way that it does it is through learning about truth, learning about purity, learning about acceptance, and learning about connection, like human
Mhm.
connection. So
Mhm.
when the soul is able to go through that learning curve, um,
Mm.
then it starts to be able to express itself and live in its life purpose. And to me, that's
Mhm.
where the magic happens, because other than that, what I've discovered is like feelings like frustration, anger, fear, doubt, worry, they hinder your growth.
Mhm.
They, they,
Absolutely.
they keep you from your life purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And the best thing to do, the best thing to do is to start to become aware of what those limiting beliefs are. And
Mhm.
the best thing that I can tell my clients is to receive as much knowledge as you possibly can from a wide variety. When I study various religions, I study science. I really look at things from a very holistic perspective. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter if I'm studying Taoism, or if
Mm.
I'm studying Islam, or if I'm studying Christianity or Hinduism or Buddhism. None of it matters, because there are certain foundational rules that are there. And
Mhm.
there's certain secrets that I believe are so eloquently tucked into religions that
Mhm.
allow us to understand on a more profound level who we really are. So
Mhm.
the ancient Egyptians, when they believed, like when you passed over, your heart is weighed against a feather. So
Mhm.
how lighthearted are you going to be in your life? Like how how much how much junk? Because what weighs our heart down is those negative thoughts, feelings, emotions. Like what weighs
Yes.
it down? It's that. So
Yes.
how do you make your heart light? You learn to forgive. You know,
Yes, yes. Oh my God, you've touched on such good points, Alia, and I love it how you are so eloquent and how beautifully you articulate um, such points with such ease. It's beautiful.
thank you,
And
thank you.
you know, Michael Singer, so he's come into my life recently as the right master comes when you're ready, right? So he
Yes,
talks about, again, metaphors. I speak a lot in metaphors. So similar beliefs are similar to, so when we are born, we are like this free flowing stream, right? This
yes,
waterfall with all vigor, like as children, they know no fear. They're confident, full of self esteem, and the world belongs to them. They are joyful, they forgive, they forget,
yes,
right? And
yes,
then what happens? What happens to the stream? What happens to us as life goes? As we are flowing down,
yeah,
rocks come in, right?
yes,
Rock from other places,
yes,
and they clog the
yes,
system, our energy flow, our Shakti. And then
yes,
slowly, slowly, one rock, two rock, three rock, it becomes slower. We become slower and we
yeah,
forget to forgive. And then because we are living from the survival mode,
yes,
connection cannot happen. Connection to another human being or even to nature that we are a part of
mhm,
cannot happen when we are in our survival mode. Scientifically speaking, survival is what? Fight or flight, right? So
yes,
your nervous system is like, oh, something is wrong. Oh, I've got to be careful. I've got to be ready to fight.
yeah,
It's an automatic nervous system response. So just imagine when your system is ready to fight or run away because you're afraid subconsciously,
Yeah.
where do you have time to connect to somebody or say hello or to forgive? No, because then it's all about you, right?
Are you tired of feeling stuck? Unable to reach your personal goals? Imagine unlocking the powerful duality of your mind to propel yourself towards success. With our mental duality guide, you can finally achieve the personal development you've always desired. This guide is not just another self-help book. It's a transformative resource designed to help you harness the hidden powers of your mind, guiding you through the building blocks to create a structured approach to goal setting and achievement. What's in it for you? Clarify your goals. Learn how to define what you truly want in life. Overcome mental blocks. Identify and dismantle the barriers holding you back. Boost your confidence. Develop a stronger belief in your ability to succeed. Achieve consistent progress. Implement strategies that keep you moving forward even when challenges arise. But how do I know this is real? Countless individuals have transformed their lives using our techniques. One user, after applying the principles from the guide, reported a 91% increase in productivity and a newfound clarity in their life direction. Here's the story. Like many, they struggled with conflicting thoughts and feelings about their goals. After engaging with our guide, they learned to balance their rational thinking with emotional insight, leading to breakthroughs they never thought possible. And what are the guarantees? We stand by our guide with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't see progress within 30 days, we'll refund your purchase. No questions asked. Why now? The longer you wait, the longer your dreams remain out of reach. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take action today and start your journey toward personal growth and achievement. What do you have to lose? Nothing but your limitations. Join the ranks of those who have discovered their potential through our mental duality guide. Act now and unlock the door to your future.
The world is
So-
scary. Yeah.
World is scary. So a part about healing is taking out these rocks
Yeah.
that are stopping this flow
Yeah.
to who you really are.
Absolutely.
And the way, so I work with a lot of high achieving women and men, and they often face challenges of beliefs that hold them back, again, without conscious awareness.
Yes.
And this is the limiting beliefs that I explain to them what it is.
Yeah.
And they manifest in different ways and inner conflicts. And it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But it is, again, subconscious,
Yeah.
unconscious, which can then only be revealed in certain settings
Yeah.
when a person like you or another experienced coach can hold space for them and look at the subconscious belief system.
Yeah.
You will be, I'm sure you've also experienced the same. There are so many successful people who I meet who are really good at what they do, and they still suffer from imposter syndrome.
Yes.
They think that they are not really good enough. It's just luck.
Yeah.
It's just, and by the way, I was one of them before, because the programming that I had in my mind before was that I'm just lucky. Oh,
Yeah.
you are just lucky. I am blessed, I am. But I took inspired action all throughout my life. So luck didn't come on my lap.
Right.
I worked through it.
Yeah.
And then with inspired action, success is but just a given, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a bit of imposter syndrome in me because when everything was going really smooth, I realized that I was sabotaging my own success because I felt, it's just luck. I'm not really good enough. And the same pattern I see in so many successful people, which is a limiting belief that I tell them. I bring it to their awareness. I bring them back to an event in the past, which caused them to have this limiting belief, this block, this rock in their flow.
Yeah.
And once they discover, dismantle, peel it back, replace with a more positive,
Yeah.
serving one,
Yeah.
the changes, the results that they get in their life, in their business is just out of this world.
I know.
And
When you're free flowing, like
Mm.
it's amazing because I think to get to that stage, it activates intuition significantly more. So you
yes,
actually can see clearly with clear vision
Yes.
as you're approaching what it is that you're looking to do.
Yes, absolutely, Alia. Like I told you this metaphor earlier about, for example, we are the projector,
Yes.
the real is our thought, and the world outside is the screen.
Yeah.
Now, in front of the lens, there are different colors, right? That's the filters I call the filters.
Yeah.
So if you have a red filter, then you will see the whole stage with a red light. If
Yes.
you have a blue filter,
Yes.
similar, right? So if you have a
Yes.
filter full of worry, fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, anger, then the whole world seems hostile. And
Yeah.
that is why, I mean, we all live in the same world, but how come some of us live feeling joy,
Yes.
peace, at ease, freedom? And
Yeah.
some, despite what they have, they're just never happy. They're always anxious. They're always worried. Why is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
And
very interesting that we live in a world, and that is the predominant vibe of the world.
yes,
I do think more people are waking up. I agree with you on that, but I also feel like it is a responsibility for individuals like us to share this out in the
absolutely,
world.
absolutely, that it is possible. It is possible, what we spoke earlier, irrespective of external situations,
Yes.
circumstances, it is possible to live a life full of joy, freedom, peace, and success.
Yeah.
You talked about people pleasing earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I've seen in a lot of women,
Mm-hmm.
including me. I used to be a chronic people pleaser because I identified people pleasing. I connected with being a nice person.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
And
taught to be nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's again
There's
programming,
guilt associated if you're not a good person.
especially as a woman, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
culturally speaking, I come from India,
Mm-hmm.
and be nice for a woman, especially to be kind and nice, basically meant, or how I perceived it to be, is to be a doormat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just keep on. And a lot of successful women, okay, some men also have this pattern, but I'm just talking about women mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So this people pleasing, women in high positions, when they struggle with people pleasing, what happens is that leads them to overcommit and undervalue their work. And what happens then is burnout.
Yeah.
Because they don't put themselves first,
Right.
their self-care first. They don't delegate
Yes.
because they think they need to do everything on their own.
Yeah.
But the point is, these are all programming that we talked about, subconscious programming. So once you have a desire, once you see there is a problem, I want to change something in my life, it is possible.
It is. Yeah. It's amazing because I believe that I don't believe there's bad people. I believe there's bad programs programmed
Mhm,
in their mind,
mhm.
because I really do think we're born pure. We have pure intentions, and
Yes.
but somebody hurt us along the way. And
Mhm.
depending on like the filter that you explained, like depending on that filter that we have, that perceptual lens in which we view the world, that's what impacted, you know, our emotional trauma. And the unique thing about memory is that memory is bonded through emotions. So
Yes.
the higher
Yes.
the emotional charge, the more the memory will be bonded to, to our mind.
Yes. And speaking about experiences and emotions,
Mhm.
now we talked about fear a lot earlier. So most cases of adult anxiety is more often than not is fear.
Yeah.
And we talked about trauma, we think trauma as something like big things that have happened in
Yeah.
our life in childhood, that is big trauma.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that come to me and they say, but I haven't had big traumas. Like I wasn't abused, or I wasn't the really sad things that happen sometimes in childhood. That's not the case for many, right?
Yeah.
And then I bring it to their attention that trauma is also what didn't happen to you.
That's true as well. Yes.
Trauma is also lack of emotional connection.
Yeah.
When parents get too busy.
Yeah.
Trauma is also when you felt scared
Yeah.
or afraid.
Yeah.
at any point of your growing up years.
Yeah.
And one or both the parents wasn't able to, for whatever reason, they were stressed, they were busy, they had their own thing going on, unconscious, their wounding, their programming,
Mhm.
whatever the reason is, but you didn't get that connection from your caregiver to come and tell you, it's okay, my love. I know you're afraid, you're feeling scared, but I've got you. It's
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
So when you don't have that emotional attunement,
Mhm.
this connection at a growing up
State.
developmentally,
Yeah.
yeah, important stage, this again, this energy,
Mhm.
fear energy gets it
Trust.
takes. So I do something called timeline paradigm. I think you know it as well. So the first thing is formed. Have you seen this movie? What's this movie? This cartoon. The part two came out recently. It
Um,
had joy, fear,
oh,
anxiety.
Inside Out. Is
Inside Out, correct, correct. So
yes.
that has such great metaphors, and it shows how emotions are formed, and it stays in particular libraries, one of sadness, one of fear, one of anger, if it's not processed and released. So trauma is also what didn't happen to you, and fear, if you didn't have a parent that could not attune to your emotional needs, then automatically you grow up as an adult who fears the world and sees the whole world through this fearful lens. And you could have all the success in the world, outwardly success,
Yeah.
great bank balance, great relationship, great, but you would not be able to enjoy it because you're always afraid the next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Something is going to happen. What's
Yeah.
going to, oh my God. So, yeah.
I think it's so powerful. What you just shared is just so powerful. Like it's so important to recognize all of these aspects, these nuances. Like I could spend so much time just diving into these types of conversations because I can't share enough of this with like the entire planet. I reflect on like, I look at my own life and when you talked about the way that it's the things that we don't even think about, it's the trauma that we don't even realize, the things that happen, the things that don't happen. I think there's a dualistic nature to life, and understanding duality is the main thing. Like if you can play the game of duality, you figured it out, especially in the mind. So I have a mental duality program, but the mind, the dualistic nature in there, how do you pour clarity on chaos when your mind has gone chaotic? How do you pour faith over the fear, you know, akin to how you would put ice cubes in some boiling hot water to cool down the temperature? you know
Mhm.
how do we adjust in up here where it matters to change out the outer world? It's the mastery of knowing how the duality works and how to bring this out so that the rest of the world could see it and experience it in the way that we do.
Yes, yes.
So
Once again, you put that so beautifully. The duality, up has down.
yeah, inside out. Yes.
So, yeah. And I think these things again, mm, these, so when we spoke last, I talked about this new program that I'm working on. It's almost ready. It's called Wild.
Yes.
So it's for women who want to intentionally live their life of their dreams, right? So if I believe, and I've experientially uh, have proven results that once you have an idea in your mind, you can create a life that you desire after you have unplugged all the false programming
Yeah.
and then reprogrammed yourself to align with your vision. You mentioned vision, to
Yeah.
live your life's purpose. And in the beginning, you said, Alia, something very, very, very unique. You talked about when we are born and that we all, our souls, we come with a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all come with our unique purpose, even if that means it's just for you to live out your own unique expression.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily always have to be a big impact and to save the world and to,
Right.
affect billions of people. Well, that's fantastic if that is your purpose.
Yeah.
But I strongly believe that sometimes purpose could simply just be unbecoming everything that you thought that you were,
Yeah.
and then becoming your unique self. And as you said, we are all truly unique and like diamonds that get what's it filled with dust and grime and dust.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is just to peel back and take off all this garbage.
I love the
And
way that you said that about our life purpose, because here's the thing that I think we take this for granted. Something as simple as a pencil requires probably 1,000 people, maybe even that number might be more, to come into existence. Somebody
Mhm.
has to go chop down the tree that makes the wood. Somebody has to create the plastic. Somebody had to own the factory. Somebody had to put these things together. Somebody had to ship it. A store owner had to buy it. Like
Mhm.
all of these things, and stock it in their store. And then you come along, and when you think about it, it's like, okay, something as silly as a pencil that we take for granted, we probably get free, we might even throw away, really required so many different humans,
Mhm.
including the truck driver that maybe drove the pencil to the distribution center and then to whatever. There's so many key players that something as insignificant as a pencil, or we may value as insignificant, has so much significance to it, because it just required so much human effort to make it a reality.
Um, you put that so beautifully. And you said about things that we take for granted. And because we live before we heal, healing is nothing but just to become whole. Healing is not about, fixing. It's just, taking out the old junk programming and replacing with what you want.
Yes.
And what you said about how we take things for granted.
Mhm.
So after we heal, when the lens is clear, there's no red and blue and green, and it's just is. It's only then we can really see everything as it is. And it is beautiful,
Yeah.
including situations, circumstances, triggers, things that don't work our way, things that anger, irritate, frustrate us. Even those become beautiful experiences. Why? Because then our relationship with these experiences change.
Yeah.
Because before healing, we only want to only have positive, good experiences. And when
Yes.
something happens, when we feel out of control, we feel unsafe, then that is what causes us anger, frustration, anxiety, all of that, right? So
Yes.
after we heal, the lens is clear. You realize that you are not only this projector, because projector has its limited shelf life anyway, right?
Yes.
After some time, it's going to be replaced.
Yeah.
But you are the power behind this projector.
Yes. Oh,
And
so powerful. You're giving me goosebumps.
and then, as I said this, I got goosebumps too. And then your whole relationship to this living, it changes. It changes because if you see our world, our earth, how it is, and all that we have, I mean, we are so blessed. Yet we allow these little things to uh, worry us.
Yeah.
Why? Because our programming,
Yeah. Yes.
the survival brain, because scientifically, this is our prime directive of our nervous system is to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Once you talked about faith, right? Fear and faith.
Yeah.
But once we engage faith by our conscious mind, connect to who you really are, that's when the game changes.
Yeah.
And that's when life just becomes this magical, this absolutely fantastic, peaceful, fulfilling, freeing experience that I wish to for all to experience.
I do wish it for all to experience. Like I can't even, there's so many times that I wish people could see things through my eyes. Like the other day, I'm just driving down and I kid you not, this absolutely beautiful dove just flies like right in front of my car and like, but just flies like so calm, not like I was gonna hit it or anything, just so calm, just made its presence known and just flies off into like the trees and stuff. And I'm like, does anybody see this magic? Like, and to me, it's so magical. Like I've had moments where I feel like I've had a full-on conversation with the tree, and some people might think I'm crazy, but I'm like, no, like I can feel the presence of life. Like it just is a
Yeah.
different experience.
Yeah.
And it's such a magical experience. I remember I love going snorkeling and I love scuba diving. And I was off the coast of Cozumel, which is in like south of Mexico. And this little fish, just the prettiest fish, I kid you not, felt like it swam up to me, waved its little fin, and just like swam away. And I'm like, I wish I had a camera for this. Like, nobody would believe me if I told them this happened. But it really does. Like, there's such a magic to life that I think is so beautiful when you can see things and you can just accept, because acceptance is is our biggest challenge, is
Yes.
acceptance.
Yes. And you also mentioned forgiveness
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah,
Acceptance and forgiveness. These two are key pillars.
yeah.
And the thing is, we can only accept and forgive others
Mhm.
when we do that to ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is, again, programming, because of being programmed by unconscious caregivers, it's automatic. Oh, you're doing everything good, 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 good. You're a good girl, good boy.
Uh-huh.
And oh, you made a mistake. Oh my God, unintentionally, because with the best interest in our mind, we parents, we obviously want to instill good behavior in our children. And again, unconsciously, we reprimand, we punish, sometimes to a certain extent, that makes children doubt their self-worth.
Yeah.
That, oh, I am only good if
I
I
do
achieve,
this. Yeah.
if I do good,
If I
if I
make
make
mommy happy,
mistakes,
or yeah.
if I make mommy happy. Hello, people pleaser,
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I love my parents. They had the best intention. They just repeated what they learned
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think this phase, this act, this time of our life, I think we all have the ability to reflect what is not working in our life, what we want to change in our life, to work with somebody like you or I to understand the where is this false programming,
Yeah.
and to change it.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a personal question.
Yes.
What, obviously, I think you made some conscious choices to change. What
Mhm.
did you hit a certain point of maybe I will use the word enlightenment, but it's all part of a journey, right? But what was that point that you felt like you hit that?
There were two important parts. So majority of my life till I was 35, I lived unconsciously. I was a very successful, successful at that time, climbing the corporate ladder. And then I moved to Germany.
Uh-huh.
And then I had my son. This was 14 years ago. And they say, it has often been said that once you have a child, that's when old suppressed things that you have suppressed comes up for resolution. It
Uh-huh.
presents itself.
Yes.
That was a first yeah, that was the first point. So 14 years ago in Germany, I experienced intense anxiety and mild depression when my son was born. So I thought it was, this postnatal depression, they call it, and da, da, da. I went to surface level therapist, and I mean it respectfully. Not everybody does deep work like you and I.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working. And that's when I decided to move back to Dubai because I blamed external. I thought, oh, it's not me, it's just the country, it's just the people.
Okay.
It's just, I'm going to go back to because I had moved from Dubai to Germany at that time. I
Okay.
lived there for 5 years. It didn't work for me. I thought it was a place and people, so I had to leave. So I moved back to Dubai to join back my old company.
Huh.
Still not feeling really good. Felt it was, again, see, that's the duality. It was that really perceived bad time of my life, uncomfortable time of my life, which led to this current place where I am.
Okay.
So had not happened, I wouldn't be where I am. So in short, I saw some more people where I realized, it came to my awareness, I had unresolved childhood issues. I wouldn't say trauma, but then as I said earlier, trauma is also not what happened to you, also what didn't happen to you. So for me, I was the latter, what didn't happen to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so I moved to Dubai. That's where my personal development journey began, because whatever my therapy, the work I did, personal development, helped me change my life drastically for the better. So I decided to change my whole career path. I learned all of this, got certified, NLP, hypnosis, Standard Paradigm, whole lots of other mind, soul, development methodologies and modalities. It was about 4 years ago, that's when the next shift happened.
Okay.
I was doing this work for 6 years, and 4 years back, what happened? The spirituality became the missing piece. It was the missing piece. And I think what we talked about earlier, I think we come to this awareness only when we are ready. So although I was getting ready to be ready,
Yes.
10 years ago, I wasn't quite ready to connect to this awareness.
Yeah.
Maybe it was meditation. I don't really know what specific incident that took place. I did go to Mexico, to the Amazon, stayed in the forest, in the jungle for extended period of time. Maybe that, I don't know, disengage from all of this to just maybe that, I don't know. But so that's when it transformed how I approach life. That's when I realized that I didn't really love myself the way I thought I did, unconditionally.
Yeah.
And once I accepted this whole duality, all of me, because we talked about acceptance and forgiveness, right?
Yes.
Once I accepted myself, my experiences, connected the dots to who I am today because of those experiences. And then I realized that these experiences are just experiences, but I am not the experiences. I am the awareness behind it all.
Yeah.
And that's when I started looking at everybody else in the same manner.
Yeah.
And that's when forgiveness became so easy.
Yeah.
I hardly had any triggers, and yeah, it just became better and better and better. So now so that's
what sort of
life
led you
changed.
down that path. Yeah. You do not, I mean, you look so young. Like I'm sitting here doing the math, and you just look so beautiful and so young. Like it's a reflection of your soul. Like it really is, because I really do, like, there's such an energy to you you've got 25-year-old vibe for sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I accept that, and I thank you for it. And may I ask you the same question, although we spoke about it briefly, Alia? What brought you to this journey?
So, this journey was a little bit of a mishmash, and I mean, to reflect on my life, there were certain key catalysts. There was a catalyst that led me down the road of depression. My father passed away when I was 11, and that led me into my teenage years, like, very depressive. And I grew up in New York City, and it was very tough because as large as New York is, nobody is relatable. And
Mm,
there's nobody that I felt like I could even talk to,
mhm,
pertaining to that, because I didn't feel like I wanted to burden my mother. She was already stressed as it was, and it was a very stressful environment for both of us. And when I got to like my late teens, um, I met someone that was a Scientologist, and
mhm,
this person explained to me about the reactive mind and the analytical mind. And I
mhm,
started to just become extremely obsessed with learning everything I could about the mind. And that was probably like my first trigger, but this would go on for years and years and years. And a few years after that, I had a friend that introduced me to Buddhism, and I started to study some of the Buddhist belief systems. And bit by bit, I went through every single faith and religion just as a student of it, just to
mhm,
learn it. And I realized there were so many, like as I explored Hinduism, there's Dharma and there's karma, and the Atman and the soul, and there's just so much to like to who we are. And as I explored, in Christianity, we started out with the word, and the word was God. And I realized the power behind the words that we speak,
mhm,
because
mm.
that's,
Sling.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. And then in the Quran, the pen is the first thing that Allah created. Well, guess what? When I'm trying to rewire my subconscious mind, I better pick the pen up, because that's going to
Mhm,
change my subconscious.
mhm,
And as I started, as I started to like to really grasp both the aspects of the religions and the spirituality, the essence of who we actually are, I realized that all of these religions and science, this is the kicker, science is now pointing in the same direction. Hi, friends. I have some really exciting news. I have just released the Mental Duality Guide to Life-Changing Results. And this simple guide has transformed so many people's lives, because what it helps to do is it helps to open up your awareness to the areas that you may be feeling unsupported, insecure, fearful, trauma that you may have had from the past that you just need to shed some light on and bring your awareness to. And the guide bridges the gap from a negative space over to a more neutral or a high vibrational frequency. So when we see that it's unsupported that we're feeling, we know dualistically that it is support. We need to feel supported in this life. Or if we're feeling insecure, we know that it's security we need to work on feeling, or maybe confidence that we need to work on feeling. And this guide allows you to open up how you actually feel. It allows you to kind of sift through some of the negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you might be experiencing, and have a way, a bridge to move them from a negative space into a positive space. I've had so many clients just see amazing results. And me, myself, I have gone to this guide in order to identify thought patterns that I was experiencing and analyze those thought patterns if they were positive or negative. Sometimes we get a thought just like seeps into our mind and we can't really put it into a category. But when we sit with a program like this, we understand what our underlying feelings might be, and bridging the gap from the negative over to something that's going to be more neutral or more positive is the secret to our personal growth and development. And this guide is going to guide you through that. Hopefully one day you join us for the Intuitive Ascending Mind program, but this guide is free for you to work on. It's personal to you. And what it'll do is that it'll open up your awareness. And once you go through that transition of opening up your awareness, you understand the areas that you need to work on. And it also will give you some wonderful affirmations to help build you foundationally from the ground up into a more positive, more happier, more healthier version of yourself, and more wealthier, of course. Peace and blessings, my friends. And what
Yes.
do I mean by that? Because you can't have an atom without an electron and a proton, not proton, yeah, proton, surrounding it. So you have a positive charge and you have a negative charge. And then you have a
Yeah.
neutron, which releases a neutral charge.
Yeah.
So all the way down atomically, like who we are is this is this dance of duality. And it's
Mhm.
navigating this dance of duality. And the more that I understood that, like I understood like in the beginning, everything is duality. Like when I think about Genesis, everything was duality. Eve's in the garden of good, she eats from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Like everything is dualistic in its nature. And the biggest thing for us to understand is that, and this is the way that I look at it, the best part of the day is always sunrise and sunset.
Mhm.
And it's never being in the midst of the night or in the middle of the day. The middle of the day is too hot. The middle of the night, you just want to sleep. It's too dark. But you see, sunrise and
Okay.
sunset is the most beautiful time. And why is it so beautiful? Because it's the navigation of the duality coming together.
Mhm.
And when we look at the physical world, if we can understand that about the physical world, and we can understand that about our mind, because it's never about us. If we have a lot of negative, yes, we have to pour some positive onto it. But it's never always about being always positive every single day for the rest of your life. That would
Yes.
throw you out of balance as well,
Yes.
because there has to be, it's the game of duality that we play. And it's such a beautiful experience to understand it and then have a desire to play the game.
Yes. And what you said earlier, I remember you talked about not attaching to it,
Yeah,
letting it come
yeah,
and go
yeah,
as an observer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's beautiful.
it's really so bringing it back. There was a catalyst. I started to realize how programs were embedded into me. So,
Mhm.
as a point of reference, when I was 9 years old, my mom had celiac disease and she was in the hospital and was very sick, and they didn't know what it was that she had. Now I observed that with her at 9 years old. She eventually they discovered what it was. She had a gluten allergy, and she was able to clear up and get on the right diet, and she healed. You know, she
Mhm.
she came back to her healthy weight. But when I was 27, guess what I started to develop?
Mhm.
All downloaded through subconscious programs. And from
Mhm.
27 to 37, I experienced that sickness.
Mhm.
And at 37, I stepped into this awareness, and I, within a matter of a few months, healed myself completely of it, like completely. And I started to go back and I started to look at all the different things that impacted my life that were subconscious programs of what was going on with the people
Mhm.
that were around. I somewhat struggled in relationship, and I realized that the reason why I struggled in relationships is because I witnessed divorces. Like,
Mhm.
and as a child, being the witness to divorces,
Mhm.
it instills fear into you. And it's something that I still kind of work on in trying to overcome and deal with, and be in a more trusting space as well. But these are all things that I had to uncover about myself. So when I'm able to analyze it, I'm able to recognize it, that's the only path that I would have towards correcting it.
Mhm.
Without knowing that that's the issue, you would be in this vicious cycle of
Yes.
just bad relationship, bad relationship, bad relationship. But if you're able to really analyze and say, okay, what are my triggers?
Yeah.
You know, what triggers me? What makes me scared? What makes me unhappy? What makes me fearful, and it's that type of awareness. And whether you bring it into the world of business, you bring it into the world of just this holistic approach, which I love, the holistic approach, because I think it makes a business owner a lot more successful if they're operating from a space of clear.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, very simply put, the moment you switch your brain from the primal part, from the stress mode, that shuts your analytical mind, right? Because that's not a time to think creative. Or the moment you make that switch, automatically your imagination soars. You can take action more fearlessly. You seek out opportunities. You take inspired action, and when you do A, B, C, D, it equals to success.
Yeah, that's
And there's
exactly what it is.
something else we just said, relationships.
Mhm.
Uh, so this again, the programming. All the songs that we listen to.
Oh yeah.
Living is without you, and my life is whatever. Not so. Again, everything that we hear, see, feel, experience, it gets programmed into the software of our mind, right? And so we grow up with this programming that we want a relationship, a significant other, to sort of fill the void, to
Mhm.
make us happy, to make
Yeah.
us feel more loved, to make us feel more needed,
Yeah.
to fill a blank, right? Yin, yang, all of that, no?
Yeah. Yeah. I
When,
agree.
in my experience, I learned it very late though, but better late than never. We already have all of these things within us. We don't need another to supplement or complement. No, what's the right word? To fill in the
Yes,
gap,
yes. To validate us, or
validate us, or to make us feel more loved,
yes.
because then what happens, and that creates, I see a lot of couples as well. The majority of the resentment is created because each person is looking for the other one to fulfill them,
Yes. I
which
I
is
had a
works for the
similar
first few months.
conversation with somebody about this not too long ago. It was such a powerful conversation. She said, "He doesn't cherish me." And I said, I had to dissect all of it. I said, "Are you judging the fact that he doesn't cherish you? Is he not cherishing you in the way you think he should be cherishing you?" And
Mhm.
ultimately, the real question is, do you cherish you?
Boom. Exactly. That's it.
Because for him to cherish you, it means you have to cherish you a whole lot.
Yeah.
And the moment I going through the process of this awakening within ourselves, I remember a few years back, I sat down to write one simple statement. And my hands, this is how my subconscious fought me on writing this statement. And that statement was, "I am worthy." And
Mm,
I couldn't even get the words correct.
mm,
Like
mm,
I scratched it out. I had to rewrite it again. Like it just wasn't, I spelt it wrong, and I know how to spell worthy. But but it just like it intrigued me because I felt the discomfort in my being as I went to write that, and I never thought that was something that was in my subconscious that may be fighting me at some point.
mhm,
And it was very awakening at that moment to realize that as much as I had accomplished, which is why everything's always on a spectrum, but as much as I had accomplished, I still didn't realize that I didn't deem myself worthy.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, because these programmings, these limiting beliefs, they are very sneaky, as you know,
They
and
are.
they're all in our subconscious, which obviously means it's not in our conscious awareness.
Yeah.
And there are three repetitive and limiting beliefs that I've seen mostly, men, women, both. I am worthy is one of them.
Mhm.
I'm not worthy is one of them. I am not loved
Uh-huh.
is the second. And I'm not deserving
Hmm.
is the third. And these three are often, again, as you said, an experience that has a strong emotional charge with it, causes a child of a certain age to um, decide to have this belief in the subconscious awareness, because at that time it made them feel safe to have that belief,
Yeah. Yeah.
served its purpose then,
Yeah.
right? So, but I was trying to get to a point here. This I'm not worthy, that comes up. It
Yes.
comes up in imposter syndrome, that comes up in, self-doubt, that comes up in, but it comes up very sneakily, and it's not in the conscious awareness.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I've gone through like at the point when this happened, I've gone through rewiring and reprogramming myself like continuously, like I really immersed myself in it. And the fact that I had missed that one piece when I went to do it, I was like, wait a minute, do I not think I'm worthy? I think I'm worthy, but do I really think I'm worthy? Because I'm like, I just know
Feel
my
worthy.
right. I just realized that like something was fighting me on a subconscious level
Yeah.
to write that statement. And I always challenge, because see, this the writing is the difficult part. The reason why we don't want to write is because we don't believe in the statements that we're writing. So when I'm working with clients, I really do, like, I emphasize the importance behind writing, and writing the affirmations, writing gratitude, and writing your goals, because there's so much importance in taking the time to write it. But when you get that pushback actually detects something in the subconscious that is fighting you to do it. And when you push past it, there you actually get happy as you're writing. Like, you get happy about writing those positive affirmations. All of a sudden you start smiling, and that's the way to like activate that dopamine, you
Mhm.
know. You get
Mhm.
really excited and you start writing and you start writing and you want to write some more. But in the beginning, there's a pushback, and to
Mhm.
break the paradigm and develop the habit requires a lot of discipline.
Mhm. Mhm. A lot of conscious discipline, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I have experienced that before the work, what requires a lot of consistent and repetitive repetitions to change a certain belief or a thought pattern.
Yes.
Once you really change it on a subconscious level, yeah, and you replace it, because once something goes, something needs to replace, and you replace it with something that you want or you desire, like I am worthy, that's a given. Then it's it just becomes a
It's
part of
instilled.
your being. It's
Yeah.
instilled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's instilled, it's downloaded. There's certain things that I've downloaded that I just love is one of those things. For me, the way that I explain love is that there's three levels of love that we can have for ourselves. There's the soul level of love, which is an unconditional love. It's already given to you. You just have to be willing to be receptive to receive it. It's a given.
Mm,
And
mm,
then you have mental love. Mental love
mm,
is when you love yourself enough to choose the right thoughts. You love yourself
mm,
enough to correct the feelings in your body, like if you're stressed or you're anxious or you have anxiety. So you need to have mental love. You have to have mental love to choose to shut down when your body's telling you to shut down. That's a part of mental love, or to bless somebody else that might be
mm.
problematic in your life. And then there's physical love. It's being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm perfect just the way that I am. I'm going to
Yes.
accept me. I'm going to love me because this is my avatar. Like, this is it. Like,
Yes.
so if I can't appreciate this avatar that I'm blessed with to have and be able to function with in this physical world, then that's the other
Yeah.
part. When you filled yourself up with that love, it comes very easy to love another human being.
Yes. Yes. You said that again so beautifully. And self-love is the core of it all. Wouldn't you agree? And
Absolutely.
this lack of self-love combined with self-worth, deservability,
Yeah.
again, very sneaky, very subconscious, because you might see somebody, dressed up really nicely, well, with, and successful externally.
Yeah.
However, they are burnt out. Why? Okay, let's talk about women here. Why? Or
Yeah.
men, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Work-life balance,
Yeah.
because they're unable to balance their professional responsibilities and also take care of themselves and their self-care. They put everything first, their
Yeah.
work first, their meetings first, their husbands first, their children first, their relationships first. But that's this imbalance of not taking care of yourself, but putting everything else before you.
Yeah.
What is the core? root of this imbalance. It stems from this, belief, subconscious limiting belief that they must, uh, they must sacrifice their well-being for the to maintain success or to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So, people pleasing combined with lack of self-worth and self-love, because you deserve to take rest. You deserve to slow down.
Yeah.
You deserve to because you deserve to make your cup full.
Yeah.
Only then you can pour it onto others, right?
Yeah. And to tag on to slowing down, when you slow down, you actually speed up if you slow down the right way.
Yes.
When you're able to silence the thoughts, a clear direction comes available.
Yes.
Clarity comes available. If the overthinkers and the procrastinators have a very difficult time moving ahead, but the ones with a calm that's able to calm and quiet the thoughts are able to move ahead faster. And it almost feels like you're manipulating time to a certain degree, because time, I know I've played around with the manipulation of time many times. And I know that it has to do with consciousness, because I've played around with it. Now, it can be bent, it can't be broken. Like, I can't be broken and stuck at 11 o'clock the whole time, but it can be, the distance between 11 to 11:01 can be significantly stretched out in terms of tasks that I could do within that time frame by setting intentions. And the more intentional I get about, okay, I'm going to do this between this time to this time, I usually will jump in and a lot of people are like, Alia, how do you do so much in such a short period of time? Intentions. It's easy. Like, it's so easy. Like, when I get into my car, if I have to be at a certain place at a certain time, I actually don't look at the clock on the car. I simply stated here that I'm going to be at that destination at that time. And I don't have to be nervously looking at the clock all the time. Oh, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, I don't have to do that. I can block off the clock completely, and I can almost always guarantee I will either be there on time or early.
Intentional, conscious living.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game changer.
It is.
Absolute game changer. Because the power of intention, as you said, again, most of us are not aware, because we either unconsciously keep on thinking thoughts from yesterday or worry about tomorrow and day after. So we are hardly setting intention and being in the present moment. These two, combination of intention and being present.
Yeah.
Imagining, vision, and letting go how it's going to come about. The results I have had in my life, just following the simple formula. First of all, understanding that you are a result of your programming. Once you understand that, you can change any result in your life that you want. That's number one. Number two, to be able to change the results that you want in your life, as you said, intentional clarity. How can you change anything if you don't know what you really want? But most people are even afraid and scared to really dream big, whatever the vision is, because they're like, what's the point of even thinking about it? It's not going to come true. But that's a topic for another day. I mean, the things that I have intentionally pulled in or created in my life, and I believe with 100% certainty that each and every one of us have been blessed with the same gift. We just need to connect to it.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
It is. This was such an amazing conversation. I'm so grateful. Hopefully, maybe we can do it again, because I think it was that valuable and that wonderful in terms of content that we're able to share with everybody. It's such powerful stuff. Such powerful stuff.
Thank you so much. And I can't believe it's been 1.5 hours already. It was such a pleasure indeed, Alia. I mean, your wisdom and the way, I mean, I'm in love I'm going to listen to this whole podcast once again, just listen to you again. I loved every bit of information and your wisdom that you shared. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having me. And
you. I'm grateful to have connected with you. I think you are an abundance of knowledge and wisdom as well. And I love the way that you shared your knowledge and your experiences. And you made it in such a simple, easy to understand manner. So I completely appreciate that. I'm so glad we connected. And stay tuned, guys. There's going to be another episode because I love Christina that much. Like, this was such an awesome episode. Thank you for joining me, Christina.
thank you for having me. And we've only scratched the surface of the rabbit hole. Bye-bye.